Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Lions Carnivore podcast. Dan right here, and we have a very special guest, someone who caught my attention while guest starring on the Dr. Kill show. She goes by Girl Gone Carnivore. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining me so early this morning. This is the only time that I could actually do this, and I actually love this. I love hearing testimonials. Yours blew me away. So Let's dive into it. Tell me how you found this quote unquote weird lifestyle, which promotes immense health and gets poo-pooed on so many times, but yet here we are living our optimal lives. How'd you get into this?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. I guess from the outside world, right? But the inside world is amazing. What's going on around here? So pretty much what I said on Kilts is I discovered carnivore obviously much later in life, but I've always been searching for the right diet for myself. And I started off as a vegetarian vegan, went through that in my early teens, was diagnosed with GERD, which is gaseous esophagus reflux disease, which means that I just have a miserable time digesting food, which really kind of makes you kind of a miserable person, to be fair. I just really always felt, for lack of better terms, gross. My stomach always hurt. I felt constantly depressed. I didn't feel like my body was developing in the right way. I was very athletic despite everything. And I was actually even born bow-legged, believe it or not. I've had all these things that I've had to kind of get through to where I'm at now. But fast forward to around 26 years old. When I was 26, I said enough is enough. I don't want to be on these medications anymore. So when I was diagnosed, I was put on PPIs, which are protein pump inhibitors, which essentially what they do is they destroy your digestive system even more than what it's already going through. And instead of prescribing the right diet, I was prescribed pills. So I took these pills for about 10 years, which wreaked havoc on my body. I was also a drinker. And I was essentially eating a gluten-free, but still kind of a standard American diet. It's it's potatoes, so I'm fine, but it's still garbage because it's fried in seed oils and, just all the things. I also dealt with just a lot of joint pain. And in between that time, so about 26 to, I don't know, I want to say maybe 36, so another 10 years, I dabbled with, again, like I said, gluten-free. I was also doing paleo. And around this time too, I was CrossFitting. So again, like I always said, I've always had a pull for athleticism. And so I was CrossFitting and I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling better. I was able to get off the medication, but I was still dealing with a lot of bloating. I was still dealing with some depression. Again, I was still drinking at the time. So that obviously wasn't helping. And so I decided about 37 years old, give or take. That's when I quit drinking. So I've been sober for almost 6 years now or something.
Nice.
Thank you. So yeah, I haven't had a drink of alcohol for 6 years. And then I wanted to since I quit drinking, I wanted to get back into the gym, because I was okay, I kind of need to take this old habit and turn it into something better. Right. And so I started CrossFitting again in my gym, in my home gym. I was I'm not ready to go to a gym yet, because I feel you need to pre-CrossFit before you actually CrossFit, because it's so intense. There's a lot of scaling involved, but still, it's pretty intense. So I was you know what? I'm going to go see my massage therapist. I'm pretty sore. This was the moment. Okay. Had I not met this man, had I never discovered what deep massage therapy is, because I did a lot of research, because again, this is how bad my joints ache. I needed somebody who I was pretty much swearing at as he was getting in there, right? Because I was so I'm serious. I got a couple F-bombs to him before. Yeah. hurts so bad, right? And this
Right.
is the pain that I was enduring in my life. Like these are the things that people say, like, oh, that's just normal. You're just no, this was like beyond. Like I was upset because I'm like, I should be able to do these things. And I'm so sore. I'm in so much pain. I've had doctors tell me you're never going to be able to lift heavy again. Straight up. They're like, you need to stop. And I'm just like, but I can't. Like, you don't understand. I've got like too much angst. Like, I got to put it in the gym.
Right. Yep.
You know, I need that outlet. This is my therapy. So I go to my massage therapist. I look at him and I'm like, oh my gosh, Paul, like what happened to you? Like in a good way. Like,
Okay.
I was like, oh my gosh, right? Like, I mean, he just looked so different. This was like this bigger guy, again, not like super duper overweight or anything, but just kind of like your standard American guy, right? Although he's an Australian. But you know, kind of like just living the comfy life. When I saw him, I was like, dude, you look fantastic. Like, what is happening? So then he was like, oh, I'm doing the carnivore diet. And I'm like, I was like, what do you mean you're doing the carnivore diet? He's like, I just eat meat. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like that, literally, those were the first words out of my. I was like, no, you don't. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what do you like? Tell me what you. So like all the things that people ask now, right? When they hear like, what do you mean you're carnivore? That was literally me. Okay. So like, I totally get it. I totally understand it. I even said to him, like, how can you not have rice? Like, how do you go to the bathroom? Like all the things that people are like, how can you do carnivore?
Right.
So for about 2 weeks, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Right. I'm like, no way. Like just meat. And then this is something that I haven't told anyone yet on a podcast, but I remember in middle school, there was this kid and all he did was eat beef jerky sticks. And he like literally like he was like the fat kid, you know, like that's what no, but like that was what he was known as. All he ate were beef jerky sticks. And I was like, that's insane. Cause I was like vegetarian. So I was like, ew, you know, he was like a rail at the end of it. Right. So that I remembered that, right. I was like, I wonder, I was like, I'm just going to do it. I was like, I do crazy things anyway. I've done sugar detoxes. I've done, you know, Whole30 challenges. I've done veganism. I've done paleo. I'm like, why not? Right. Like, why not? Here I am, like almost, it'll be 4 years next month, full on carnivore. Now I have been able to incorporate other foods in my diet and we can talk about that, but like, I still claim carnivore lifestyle. I still believe that it is the greatest reset diet. It has enabled me to power lift at 42 years old. And just for an example, I did a workout the other day. It was 4 rounds. It was 5 deadlifts at 225 and then about a 40-meter farmer's carry with 250-pound dumbbells.
Holy smokes. That's awesome. Wow.
I did it. I had to do it every 3 minutes.
Right.
So I did it in, what is that? 3 times, 12 minutes or so, give or take. I think my last round was a little bit slower, but goodness. And then I got up the next day and took care of my 3 kids. Like, so there's no way that I would be able to do what I'm doing.
Right.
And live like a standard single mom kind of life, right? Like I'm like over here, single mom, 3 kids, full-time job, doing all the things, starting a Carnivore Krispies cereal company, like just doing all the things. And then I know I can do them because of this diet. So
isn't that wild how the amount of energy that we have, right? That we have like built in pre-carnivore and your body wants to exert this like enormous amount of potential that you have, but it doesn't know how to do it. But we do kind of diffuse that energy in other ways. And before we know it, like there's no balance, nothing. But carnivore, on the other hand, knows exactly where to kind of like distribute it. Right. And I've noticed that energy wise. Now I wanted to rewind a little bit because you had said that you were like a vegan, right? At one point. Do you see similarities with the dogma? You know, that's where I'm learning a lot right now, right? Because I'm at 16, 17 months right now of carnivore, and it is a game changer. Like I don't want to deviate, right? Like I've started incorporating certain things, but the demonization of vegetables, of so many things, and I'm like, all right, hold on a second. As a carnivore community, we have to keep a filtered mind. Like I'm a big believer of that, not an open mind. To me, an open mind is having an unhinged front door. Everyone's coming in, and before you know it, they're changing the narrative of your dwelling. So I filter it, right?
Yeah.
So it's whatever helps the individual, right? Like if someone wants to incorporate some broccoli, this and that, God bless. I know, unfortunately, I can't, but I can't like shame someone for eating. If they want to eat cereal, they want to eat something else, and you can continue this lifestyle, by all means, it's okay. That's not a problem. But to be like, like the vegans are, oh my God, you're killing animals, you're destroying the world. And then as a carnivore, oh my God, the vegetables are they're made to kill you. I'm grabbing my head and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. We're falling into the same exact trap here.
Yeah.
It's not. It's whatever works for you. There's certain people that can have moderation. My lady, I can't have moderation. I know for a second, if I eat that broccoli, I know it's not trying to kill me, but it revamps my eating disorder, my eating addiction. Like I can't have, a Nutri-Grain bar. I can't have it. It's one of those things. Yeah. So I wanted to pick your brain on that. Are there similarities between extremisms of vegan and carnivore?
I mean, I feel like in anything, right, in any type of way of life or lifestyle, you're going to have your various kinds of people. My mentality is a little more like, let them miss you. I feel like we don't let people just miss things and kind of figure it out for themselves. I know that when I deviate, and I have, and I can, because I always come back to carnivore because it's the diet that has saved my life. It's the diet that makes me feel the best. But that doesn't mean that I'm so rigid in my structure, or even in my day-to-day life. And I recognize that when I do deviate, I'm probably going to feel a certain way. And that's just kind of a consequence, right? Like a natural consequence. But I'm just a little bit more under an umbrella of like, let them miss you. Let them remember. Like I had a friend, I've had this friend for so long now, and he hit me up the other day and he's like, I've been following you and I've seen your journey. And he's like, I'm just so proud of you. And honestly, you're really inspiring me to go back to a more ketogenic diet. This is somebody who hasn't been on a ketogenic or carnivore lifestyle for like over a decade, right? And he just happened to just be following along on my journey and is thinking, you know what? So it's like, let them miss you. Let them figure it out. Let them see you. Now, I will say this, and I don't know if you're aware, but I was on the show Surrounded, and I was actually debating a vegan.
Oh, nice.
And that was an interesting experience. And I'm going to tell you, as somebody who really absorbs energy, I really absorbed a lot of energy in that room that day. And I'm going to tell you, by the end of it, you can see like my end interviews. And I'm like looking at myself and I'm like, look at my posture. I was like this. I was very like, they just hate us. Like that was my, and I felt like all the life inside of me was just kind of drained.
Right.
And I feel like when you're around, and again, it was kind of a combative energy too, right? Because we're like, this is a debate. This is like, it brought me back to high school. I literally lettered in forensics. Okay. Like total nerd, whatever. I don't care. I love this kind of stuff. I did actually drama. I didn't actually debate. I did. Yeah. But I wanted to do comedy. Don't even get me started.
Do it.
I'm going to do it. I am going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up. But so, I just felt like at the end, it was kind of cool because if you watch the whole episode, I was able to debate him twice. And then what was really cool is I had the final word. Like at the very end, the director did some interviews and I was one of them. And I was actually the final clip of the episode. And I was like, that says something to me. I might not have been like super duper highlighted, but I actually feel like having the final word is like the coolest thing.
Right.
And again, I keep reminding myself, like, as much as I want to influence people, and I do want to become a coach, and I want to help people even more than just through watching me, through inspiration, but like actually being able to communicate and talk through some of these things. Like what is your goal, right? Because again, I think, veganism is so focused on the outside world. They're so focused on this kind of ideology of like, no animal, I guess, kills other animals, and we all just live hunky-dory happy. And unfortunately, that's just, it really does actually, you have to actually, unfortunately, kill something to live. And that's just nature. And truly, the apex predator is the earth, because nobody makes it out alive. That's how I look at it. Like none of us make it out. That's why we have to believe in something higher, hopefully, right? Like that's kind of the point of spiritualism and faith and religion. So, we have to know what is like the focus, what is the end goal. So like if you have an autoimmune disorder and you are just disgusted with taking pills, and the pills are making you feel worse because of all of the side effects, then we're going to go like almost lion diet on you, right? Like we're going to have to strip it down. And unfortunately, like this isn't about losing weight. This is about like a diagnosis, essentially, something that maybe a doctor hasn't done for you. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not, licensed in that way, but like, why not? Like, why can't you be your own guinea pig? Like, why can't you kind of figure out maybe what it is? Right. And I suggest lion diet because there's a lot of histamines and other things in other kinds of meats that may obscure, like, a lot of people say, oh, carnivore is not working for me. Well, maybe pork and chicken aren't working for you. And you need and eggs. And maybe you literally just need to eat red meat. Right. And I'm sorry, but you might have to do it for a couple weeks. It's not the worst because it's very satiating. It's very satisfying. And you can slowly bring foods in and then see, oh, now I ate that, pork. Ooh, I'm not feeling good.
Right.
Oh, that sucks, because pork is awesome. I'm so thankful I can eat it. But like, maybe you can't, but you can eat all the other meats or like whatever, And so I'm just saying, like, for carnivores, I think our goal is more of an internal piece. Right. Where a vegan's goal is more of an external ideological piece. I find that just for me, I'm a pretty logical person. I'm an emotional person, but I'm also very logical. I like to play chess. Like I kind of have this weird like brain in that way. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. I really like to think philosophically and deeply about stuff. And when it comes down to it, carnivore just makes sense to me. Like it just, the way I feel, the whole like history, like I really, I'm a big believer that humans got so smart because we ate brains. We got thumbs, we were able to crack skulls. Next thing you know, our brains are bigger than our stomachs. So like there's something I think to be said for just ecological reasons, historical reasons, just all of it, right? That we can't deny like some of these like straight up truths in a way, like they're just facts. And so, yeah, I do think that both have similarities, but I do believe that the base of the why is a lot different. And that's what obviously leads to the two different pathways, right? Because at the end of the day, although I have met some carnivores and I myself am trying to do better about this as well, is going to regenerative farmers, right? Ecologically, making ecological choices, doing things with an ecological mindset. This makes sense. This was actually one of the arguments I had on Surrounded about like, well, maybe we need to bring buffalo back. Like, the Europeans came over here and kind of like, what? I mean, some of them still are here, but obviously not as many as there used to be. But they're a natural animal. It's like, I love eating alligator. I live in Florida. That's a natural food for me to eat around here. There's plenty of them. and they're natural predators. So it's like, I definitely don't feel bad eating an alligator ever,
Right.
like you'd eat me before, and honestly, like now that I can eat them, like, and really enjoy it, I'm not as scared of them. I'm like, I eat you for breakfast.
That bravery. I mean, honestly, it is wild, right? That you say that. I know that there is a sense of facetiousness, but it's not. Honestly, it's primitive. Like as a man, right? Like growing up, I would see like a raccoon or whatnot. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
oh, Now it's not around here, but I have it. I have a spear. I bought a spear.
Okay. See,
So
yeah.
I'm like, all right, if there's something that's going by my backyard to protect my family, I am slaying it. Like there's no thought process. I'm gonna do what I have to do.
You're like, I'm
And
waiting. I'm waiting for the day.
it's like my nuts dropped, and I'm like, I'm a man now. I'm a man. Wow. It took Carnivore. Sorry, chat. Well, so I gotta say hi to Rick. Rick is awesome. He also lives in Florida. This dude is awesome. Awesome. He eats iguana. I'm like, wow.
Okay. You know what?
He's awesome.
If it's legal, as long as it's legal, and as long as somebody's willing to get it or whatever,
right.
I'm down. I will literally. I mean, I have canned meat and it was rotten. Okay, it was like fermented meat. Okay, no, it smells like roadkill.
Right.
Okay? I made it to day 4. I honestly can't remember if I actually ate some of it on day 4. I don't think I did. It's pretty bad. So I'm just saying, like, I will. I've done duck. I don't know if I've ever had a wild chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I don't know. But no, I haven't. I've had camel,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had what's another one? Oh, kangaroo, which honestly, I don't know. I guess they would try to beat me up, so I don't feel too bad at all.
Did it come with a to-go bag? Joking. So you were saying something interesting, right? About the lion diet. The lion diet helped me out immensely, right?
Oh, good.
I did the whole Michaela Peterson thing.
Oh,
right? The
nice.
entire thing. And I'm like, you know what? This, as you said, it makes sense. And then little by little, I started incorporating eggs. I'm like, all right, feel okay. Good. Pork, though, as much as I love it, I enjoy, bacon, and I'll still eat it from time to time. But I feel like my weight goes up a little bit. My mood drops. Yeah, I don't. I'm thinking it's because it's not a ruminant animal. It doesn't filter out, the toxins and whatnot. So I'll eat it once in a while, but I notice it's not that nutrient dense. Now we go, like my friends and I will go to like a steakhouse, like a Fogo de Chao, right? And that's like the go-to for us carnivores, right? Cool.
Right.
Even that, the next day, not that I feel like I'm hungover or anything, but I feel different. And it's a bad different. So like I went Friday night, yesterday I had so much errands to run, which was great, but I felt bloated. And then I start thinking, what are they seasoning these steaks with? They say salt, but I used to be a restaurant owner a while back with my brothers, and I started studying the French cuisine. And many French restaurants, believe it or not, especially in the city, the high-end ones, they add MSG, monosodium glutamate. Now, you put MSG on dirt, you'll have no backyard in about eight weeks, because you will be addicted and you will not stop eating that. I think a lot of these...
That should be illegal. Like, I don't...
Oh, 100%. And so should so many other things. But they put that in it. So we have to be very mindful. I know for me, I can't stop eating that. When I go to like Fogo de Chao or all these other Brazilian restaurants, which I love, I'm not going to lie. But there comes a point where my stomach starts hurting. As if it's beyond fullness.
Yeah. Like it's, yeah.
Like when I eat a steak at home, I could push back. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm okay. And you know, my kids are like, you sure? I'm like, no, I'm good. You know, I'll feed you or the dog or my dog is like freaking full on carnivore. That dude is all out muscle. He's like a little mini Hulk. Like he's like, let's eat. But I just feel it. Those places, they have to place an additive. They have to bring you back. All these restaurants, there has to be something that they throw out there. And me being that sensitive gut wise, my microbiome, let me tell you, it is. Even though I'm on this for 16 months, I have to be on this for the next 20 years. And I'm going to get into something, and I want to pick your brain on this.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to Italy and France this summer. And I made the decision that I'm not going to try anything. I'm not pizza, pasta, whatever the case is, because I know within me that'll bring me back. But a lot of my friends are like, but you're there. Why don't you have some wine? Why don't you have a little bit of this? But knowing myself, I know that might give me that gateway. How would you attack that?
So I will say, because I've traveled to Europe, I have not been to Italy, but I went to Greece. It's kind of similar. Don't tell them I said that.
No. I'll edit this.
Yeah. Don't tell the Greeks I said that. And I come from Italian descent. I'm Napolitan and Sicilian, but
whoa, nice.
Right? I know.
Oh, it was fun at home. It was fun. Right? It was a great experience growing up.
My great grandmother came over from Italy. Like I grew up with my great grandmother cooking like authentic Italian food. You don't get that now unless you go to Italy. So here's my suggestion to you. This is my suggestion.
Okay.
When you travel to Europe, first of all, you're not going to have all the MSGs. Those things are like illegal in Europe. Like they don't allow. And I will tell you, is it the prime minister or the president of Italy? I know it's a female.
Meloni.
Right.
She's
awesome.
The
president? Is she the president? I don't know how.
She is prime minister.
Prime minister. Okay, I had it right. Okay. So the prime minister, she is like kind of a health nut. I love her. She's amazing. And so I would suggest this. Stick to eating as close to carnivore as possible, right? There's a lot of really good Italian foods that are very meat-based. So you're not going to have a problem with that. If you come across some like authentic Italian, like 1-2 ingredient bread that was like actually made correctly,
right?
I honestly think you could try it and probably be okay. But again, you know yourself the best, right? So if you think that eating that is going to cause you to eat more of it and you don't have a shut off, then don't do it, right? It's like me with alcohol.
Right.
I know that I could probably go like the first 2-3 times having a couple drinks and I'd be like, oh, I got this. Next thing I know, I'm repeating old patterns. I don't want to go down that road. That's why I avoid it entirely, right? Like I just stay away from it. It is definitely but I can do other things. I can eat other foods and I know that I'm going to come back to carnivore. So really at the end of the day, it's your experience. You can you could even document like I did straight up carnivore in Italy and this is how I did it. And if you do veer off a little bit, then you just admit it. Like you just say, and then maybe making yourself accountable to others and saying, hey, I tried this. This is how it felt in Italy. Wow, I don't get the same feelings that I do. That says a lot about, so you might even want to just do it for experimental reasons, right? Like whatever again, it comes down to your why. And if your why right now is like, look, I'm brand new to this diet. I'm not even like, you're a little over a year in now?
Yeah, I'm almost a year and a half.
About a year and a half, right? Like maybe you're still like baby carnivore. So you're like, I don't know if I should eat these other things. So yeah, I'm either going to go full on carnivore as close as I can, document that experience, tell people, hey, here are some places that you can go. And it's, I did that at a carnival. Let me tell you, it's not easy eating carnivore at a carnival.
Right.
But I did it as best I could, right? I was like, I'm having these bacon wrapped meatballs, not sure what's in the meatballs, probably totally not carnivore, but super delicious, and I did the best I could.
Right,
Being with
right,
my kids and having fun. Now, am I going to eat carnivore food all the time? No.
right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I just know that I'm not. Are you going to go to Italy for the rest of your life? No. So maybe, what they say, what happens in Rome stays in Rome. You could literally like eat a little off and say, look, this is my little Italy experience. This is what I did. This is what I experimented with. When I come back to the States, no part. And honestly, you're not going to get the same experience. So again,
Right.
I think just like think about that. When do you go? Like,
We're
is it
going in August.
okay? So
Yeah.
you have some time to think about
Mhm.
it. By then, you'll be like over 2 years in, right?
Right.
So maybe at that point you'll be like, you know what, I'm ready to maybe try a couple things, and I'm just going to tell myself I'm not going to do it the whole time, or maybe wait till like the last couple of days or like a day before you leave. That way you have a day to kind of just like reset in case you
Mm.
don't feel too well. But at that point, it's the end of the trip. So it's like, I don't know. So I mean, you know what I mean? I feel like you can kind of plan that out. I've had to do that traveling too. You just can't be too rigid. I believe
Right.
that. But again, if you have an autoimmune disorder,
Mm.
like certain foods are just completely off, don't do it.
Right.
And you're just going to hurt yourself real bad. It's like me with my GERD. Like, I can't just sit there and eat a bowl of pasta. I'm going to feel it. It's going to
Right.
be bad.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you brought up great points on that. I appreciate your perspective on it because yes, in Europe there are different kind of standards, right? And that's where I wanted to segue. GLP-1s, right? Right now, there's a lot of many lawsuits coming up right now. Sudden death, bowel issues that are just unheard of, right? But people are still going that route.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it? Is it that instant gratification where they don't care what happens long term as long as they lose the weight? But it's been so accepted now
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
take an injection as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to being carnivore, right? Because like I'm more than sure that whoever you come across and they're like, "Oh my goodness, you look amazing. What are you doing?" Carnivore. Oh, whoa, cholesterol, red
Yeah.
flags. But that same friend, same scenario, and your rebuttal would be, "Oh, I'm on GLP-1s." It would be it would like be lauded. Like, "Oh, wow, that's great. How you feeling? This and that." They're
Yeah.
more receptive
Mm-hmm.
to the pharmacy than to how we're actually constructed. How do you break that barrier?
Isn't it kind of funny? It's like from farm to pharmacy, like,
Love it.
right? Like,
Well done.
it's, I've even said like the butcher is the new alchemist. That's how I see my butcher.
Mm.
Like they're my actual healer,
Yep.
right? And we don't think about these like, so with my Carnivore Krispies thing, right?
Mhm.
I'm on the phone with regenerative farmers. I'm on the phone with meat processors. I'm on the phone with these good old American farming people who are very close to the source of nutrition. And it's such a beautiful way to connect with people. I feel like I'm bridging some gaps too
Mhm.
between the processing market and the farming market and regenerative farming, and kind of like bridging this gap with these people. But who does that? No one. Like, there are people, I shouldn't say no one, you know what I mean? I'm being
Mhm.
hyperbolic. But who does that, right? Like, there's not a commercial out there right now saying, "Hey, talk to your local farmer,"
Right.
right? It's all, "Take this medication and here are the side effects. You might die, but hey." It's these are the things that, so it's really, I think it comes down to your blue pilled or your red pilled. I'm serious. And
Yep.
I will bring it back to the Matrix all day. You are living either in the world that I think we have all lived in at one point in time.
Mhm.
And again, I was on those PPIs for 10 years. These are drugs that they say you should only be on for 3 months. Okay. There's a reason for that. The doctors kept telling me to take them. I said, when I stopped taking them, it hurts. Come on. Like, if I would have known if I just needed to eat steak, come on. Like,
right.
it's too easy. It's too supportive of a situation where factory farming now gets a real big, red flag, because we're like, hey, we don't even need to be producing any of this other garbage crop stuff, because like the feeding the cows the corn, the soy, it's not their natural diet anyway. We could be doing regenerative farming where everything comes back into the land. It's very ecologically sound. There is a solution, right? But it doesn't, where's the money? You can't subsidize somebody not creating surplus and just surviving and maintaining and living off the land.
Right.
There's no, you know what I mean? And so what do? You blue pill people, essentially. And so people just, when things become like, you can normalize anything. Like, kids grow up. I mean, my kids are adopted from foster care. Let me tell you, like, there was a lot of things that were normalized in their first home that I'm over here like, like, we can literally normalize anything, any kind of behavior. We can teach people, especially as a young child, hey, this is actually normal, when it's not. Correct. Think of all the behaviors apart from health, mental health, physical health. Like, there's a lot of things that people have been programmed to think that are normal, and they're not. It's like that. I love the meme that's like, I can't believe we've told people this, and it's like cereal aisle in the grocery store. It's normal, but this isn't. And it's like cows grazing in a field, right? Like,
right.
Cows grazing in a field is, I mean, again, it would be the most natural if it was buffalo, okay, right, roaming wild and free. But I mean, come on, like, we have desensitized people. This is why I actually went and processed a cow. My brother has a farm out in Texas, and I said, hey, bro, like, I want to come up or over, I should say. I was like, I want to come over a little bit up, and I want to process a cow. So the next time you, are going to do that, let me know. And so, yeah, I went out there a couple years ago, and I straight up, like, I have a picture of me holding the head because I had to dispose of it for my brother. And so, yeah, like, we did the whole thing. It was quite the experience, right? And I'm there, like, literally in the thick of it. And this is what it takes. And you kind of, like, we normalize watching, like, all of this violence on television, right? How about like getting to the source of your meat and your food and your sustenance, and that, for me, that was like, I need to go do this, because if I'm going to say I'm carnivore, like, I'm going to do it. Like, nobody's going to say to me, like, oh, like, but don't you feel bad? And don't you, and it's just like, well, at the end of the day, if I have to feed myself and my family, and this is what makes me feel good, no, I don't feel bad. I'm sorry.
Right.
Don't, this is life. And truly, cows at this point, they're so domesticated, they need humans. They would go extinct. They would literally go extinct. They would get, this is why do you think manatees are protected? Okay. They're kind of dumb. They are. They're like, that's why they're called sea cows. They are the cows of the sea. They're kind of dumb. They will, like, come up to you, right? Like, at one point I'm like, why aren't we farming manatees? Like, we could just like overpopulate these guys and, like, feed the whole world. And then I come to find out, like, their whole body is just a stomach. And I'm like, oh, because there's, like, no meat on these. like literally. Right. But again, why are they protected, right? Like, why do we protect manatees? Because they are on the border of extinction, because they're just dumb. Like, they're just too friendly. They're just, there's nothing really there. I mean, they have natural predators. That's why we protect them, So it's like, there's a reason why the world works the way that it does. There's a reason why there's certain animals that there are. And let's be honest here, like, crop agriculture, people want to say, like, oh, I could literally feed my whole family with one cow.
Yep.
One cow
for the year.
For the whole year, I could feed my family with one cow. Crop agriculture kills more animals. There are more animal deaths from crop agriculture, hands down. And it does destroy ecosystems. There are so many insects. Do you see fireflies anymore? You live up north. You don't see a firefly. Where'd they go?
And they're few. You're right.
Right?
I remember seeing
As a
it
kid,
would always bump into me
yeah, like,
or
we're
me
putting it in
into it.
jars. I'm reading in the dark with a bunch of fireflies at night as a kid, right? Like,
Right.
when the fireflies came out, it was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best time of the year." I was so
Right.
excited. Gone.
Gone. It's
Gone.
true.
They're gone. They're gone. And now down in Florida, we've got these weird, like, they call them love bugs. And then
Oh,
we've
the red ones?
yeah, and they, like, attach to each other, and they're completely useless, and they're totally invasive, and they have no place, and they just mess up your car. And then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Where are these coming from?" I'm like, "So we trade in, fireflies for these things." I'm like, "This is terrible." And then we've got these giant alien-looking grasshoppers.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "Where the heck did these things come from?" So, like, you know, there's just, like, all these, like, weird things happening in our ecological system that, people don't realize that, like, at some point, it's not probably not gonna happen in our lifetimes, but we do need to really start thinking about, like, how can we get back to just a little bit more of a cycle of life?
Right.
And to come back to that whole point is, like, people are living so outside of, like, when you go carnivore, you were talking about the spirit earlier, you feel
Mhm.
your instincts, you feel your humanness, which I
Right.
actually think helps you get closer to the spiritual, because at that point, you're so connected to the earth, you're so connected with your biology, you're so in tune with, so, like, as a man, right, your hormonal cycle is daily. I'm sure
Mhm.
you feel it, right? You feel
Yep.
it in the morning, and as the day goes on, it drops. Same thing with women, just ours is a lot longer cycle, but I will tell you, like, I know my cycle. Like,
Right.
I know
Right.
exactly what's happening. I'm like, "Why am I feeling this?" Oh, right?
Hmm.
Luteal phase. There it is, right? Like, it's very on point. When you are eating foods that keep you kinda blue-pilled, stuck inside of this delusion,
Right.
you're not thinking like that, right?
Mm-mm.
You're not thinking basic survival. You're thinking surplus. You're thinking things are just gonna when I go in the grocery store, I think to myself, "How the heck is there one of these every 2 miles with the same amount of stuff in it?"
Right.
These are the kind of things I think about. I don't
And
think many people are thinking about those things. I
and
think about it all the time.
I'm glad that you brought that into this because number one, you brought up The Matrix, which I don't consider it a movie. I consider it a documentary. It is the wildest thing because it showcases how we're in this kind of simulation
Mm,
where, God forbid, you want to go against it.
mhm.
You're looked at as a renegade, as who are you to fight the establishment? And what you were saying about the hormones and that sixth sense, right? It occurred to me, and it happens to me all the time.
Mhm.
Yesterday, just laboring, doing so much work and whatnot. I didn't eat anything until probably maybe 8 or 9 p.m. But during the day, I felt a connection, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm Christian, right? And I pray a lot, and there were instances throughout the day where I know that I would have snapped in the past.
Mhm.
But there is a sequence of self assessment, self assurance, and critical thinking. All right, if someone just cut me off, I'm going to go ham on this guy. I'm going to go crazy.
Mhm.
Wait, whoa, hold on. Wait, like this is what's going on in my head. I'm like,
Mhm.
wait a minute. He cut you off probably because maybe he's taking care of a family member. Maybe this person needs to go to the bathroom. Maybe this person is late for something. And there's a sense of empathy.
Mhm.
And then I have a 5-second rule that just came to me. All right. In about 5 to 10 seconds, you're not going to remember this. It's going to go. But you could make this a lasting moment in your life negatively if you pursue this.
Mhm.
Choice is your, like, again, every single instance of this life, there's a red and a blue pill.
Yep.
Every single time. Which one are you taking? And it's just helping that acumen of life, of knowing what to do,
Mhm.
getting that understanding, being intellectual, and reading books. Let me tell you something. I was a jock. I was a jock growing up. Like that's it. I played football, the quarterback, this, that, laugh, just skimming by high
Mhm.
school. And my wife is an avid reader. Oh my God, she's so amazing. Like every time I see her, she's like reading books. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just reading. And she rips through it.
Love that.
Going on this, I knocked out at least 10 to 15 books. And I can't have enough, right? I was reading Atomic Habits, then the other one, Life is 10%, what happens to you, and 90% on how you react. And I'm just learning. Like
Mm.
there is a receptive type of nature that I never knew that I had. And I think it happens to so many carnivores and
Mm.
so many people that fast.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to get into. The fasting part of this is where it all makes sense. Whether people are vegetarians, vegans, carnivores, whatever the case is, allowing for that health, spiritual reset.
Mhm.
How have you incorporated fasting? What have you experienced during fasting? Has that brought you spiritually a little bit more broader minded and thinking clearly? What has your experience been with fasting?
So I have two different kinds of fasts.
Mm.
As a power lifter, I will say I have to kind of dance around fasting
Mhm.
because of the way that I train. When I'm Catholic, so during Lent, I do try my best to abstain from meat on Friday. Um, if I'm traveling, that definitely complicates things because at that point I won't, I'll be honest.
Right.
I just won't. I had an instance where it fell into my travel schedule and I just gave myself a pass essentially. But what I do try to do then on those days is not eat red meat. So I might still have pork just because it can sustain me the way red meat can for me. So, and sometimes seafood and fish just don't give me enough, especially when I'm traveling. And who wants to smell that on an airplane? Like I can't be doing that to people. So
Sardines.
right, like yeah, I'm not gonna pull out a can of sardines. I'm not gonna pull out boiled eggs. Okay, like
Mm.
you can't, you know what I mean? Like you have to kind of work with. So I will. I pack actually Italian sausage. I get artisan Italian sausage. It's imported from Italy. It's like the
Nice.
highest grade sausage you can get. I get it from my buddies down here at DeCosmos. I'll give them a little shout out. It's down here,
Italian.
right? It's my Italian. I tell them they're my Italian brothers.
Our paisans.
My paisanos. Well, yeah, no, it's so true. So yeah, but so for me, a fast can actually just be it's for religious purposes abstaining from red meat, right?
Gotcha.
So like full on like rudiment, right?
Mm.
But then I actually do like fasts where it's like just water, right? Or I might do my primal coffee in the morning, which is egg, collagen, salt, half and half.
Mm-hmm.
And then I won't eat until maybe after I train. So I will train fasted, but I let my trainer know. I say, we're not going to do a high cardio. We're just going to weight train, right? Like that's all we're going to do today. And some auxiliary work, stuff like that. So I do like, I have to, again, kind of walk a delicate balance with it. I can't do it all the time, but I will tell you when I do it, oh man, I think I hit ketosis within like 3 to 4 hours. Right? Like my body knows it's not going to be eating now. And when I say 3 to 4 hours, I'm saying I've already started fasting like the night before, like before bed. Right. So like I haven't eaten since maybe 8 o'clock at night. So now it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's been 12 hours. So when I say 3 to 4 hours, I'm talking 3 to 4 hours after that. Right.
Gotcha.
Where, I'm awake, I'm moving, I'm doing. So at that point, I'm maybe like 16 hours in, 15 to 16 hours in of a fast. That's where I say that's where it kind of starts counting. So then I might go until I train at like 7 something at night. But it is possible that I might take like a couple bites of sausage right before I go.
Right.
just to get like a little something. But yes, coming back to like the whole spiritual aspect of it all, I do feel that when you fast or when you just abstain from certain foods in general, right? Because we are like, I think about Catholics a lot during Lent, and I'm like, eating a donut on Friday is still not fasting, guys. Like, yes, we're abstaining from red meat, but I also don't think that you should just gorge yourself with sugary sweets either. I don't think that that's going to get you any closer to God. Like, you're not feeding your soul. You're still
Right.
feeding your desires, your carnal desires.
Mm.
So you need to elevate. So what are you going to eat instead? Right. And that's where I feel that's why God said, eat the fish, you can eat the fish on Fridays. And really that is kind of the point, right? Because fish is going to give you just enough sustenance, but not too much like red meat that's going to get you closer to God, right? That I feel like that is the ultimate goal there when it comes to the fasting. I feel like that tradition has gotten a little lost or misinterpreted, I feel. Anyway, that's how I interpret it. Like, what do I know? Truly, that's how I kind of feel about like the things I read. Like I read a lot of theology. I've studied. That's why I went to Greece in the first place. I was actually there for a philosophy trip. I was studying Greek Orthodox actually. So like there's always some kind of like method to my madness. But again, whatever works for people at the end of the day. But I will say, like, my recommendation is this, right? I recommend that if you want to get closer to God, yeah, you actually have to make a sacrifice.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like, that's kind of the whole point. And I do feel as carnivores, we do kind of quote unquote, right? Sacrifice certain foods for our health in order to then be better. Honestly, I feel stewards of Christ because we're happier.
Right.
We can do more. We are I feel like our boundaries and our morals are just kind of a little more elevated just because like you don't want toxicity in your life, and sin is that too. So you just try to like, right? You're just trying to like block it out. You block out a lot of noise with carnivore, I guess.
Right.
So how do you feel about that? You have a kind of a
so piggybacking off of that, and yes, I always feel I love how you put it because it is a sacrifice, right? Living a standard American diet is just given into all temptations, and that's alcohol too. I wasn't an alcoholic, but in order to showcase my inner inhibitions, the friendly guy, the talkative person, this and that, the life of the party, I had to have some shots. I had to drink some beer, being social, and that was me. Now, I go to the same places, like sparingly. Like if my friends are like, "Hey, let's go watch a game," I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Let's do it." But I won't eat anything. I'll have seltzers. But I see myself like with that same energy as if I down some whatever the case is. And I try to abstain from going to those places anyway. I don't know. I've gotten to a point in life where it's not attractive to me. Yeah. I want to be surrounded by people that elevate me. And I remember reading this quote that said, if you're the smartest among your friends, get new friends. And it's so true because it hit. So because I want to learn. I want to continue to elevate my knowledge, right? Yeah. So with that being said, having that willingness to say, all right, no more fruits, no more vegetables, no more grains, no more alcohol. I need to just cut everything out. At that point, you could see how things flourish. Because it's like redoing your backyard, reseeding, just everything is like started from scratch. And for me, when I do these fasts and I pray a lot, I'm, biblical scriptures, reading it. And that's the wild thing to me. Like growing up, reading the Bible, sometimes it was a little difficult. Yes, there was the King James version, whatever. But I find myself reading and understanding. And before I read, I pray. And I'm like, God, help me. Like I need that. And he has. He has helped me. And when there's words there that I just don't understand, I'm like, all right, let me look it up. I write it down and I become a student of God, right? And the more I fast, the more I get closer and the more I calm myself and the more I open myself to what God has for me. And what I notice is the fine tuning and the iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And whenever there's certain things that happen in life that are quote unquote negative, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened, I stop. And I remember the passage biblically, it says, thank God in all things, the good and the trials. And I'm like, well, the trials. But that's how you forge so many things like steel, refining gold. In order to take the impurities, you have to throw it in the furnace. Yeah. And in that moment, I'm like, God, you know what? You helped me. You took this person away from me in my life. Or you brought this person in. This person's giving me a lot of difficulty. But I thank you. I thank you for this. That this is you're teaching me here. That there's something that you want me to learn from, and this is going to help me. And it has helped me in so many facets. Friendships where I just had to drop. I had to. I've known you since junior high school. We can't do this.
Yeah, we can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Sorry, you're not bringing anything to the table. I'm sorry. I don't want to bring this to that level, but I'm a father of 2 little girls. And when I see, and they're not teenagers yet, but when I see a teenage girl, I'm thinking of my daughters. When I see a 22-year-old girl, I'm thinking my girl's going to be there. This girl has a dad, probably brothers, mom. I don't know what's going on there. The 30-year-old, my mind is, because of this fasting carnivore, there's an empathy and there's an understanding of stages in life. And when I look at even whoever, an elderly gentleman, a 90-year-old, 80, 70, I want to learn from those people. I want to understand what the history was 40, 50 years ago. There's an acceptance. There is something where I'm enjoying life through the ups and the lows. That I think fasting helps me out with that. I really hope I kind of, in a nutshell, answered that question.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's all our own faith journey, right? And so I feel like the things that you said about being able to really, you calm your mind. If bad things happen, you learn from them. You start to break apart, like, well, what is the lesson that God is trying to teach me here? And through this pain, what can I build from this pain? How can I turn it into maybe something beautiful? And I think that that's why God gave us art, right? And that I feel, especially as like a power lifter, I'm not into bodybuilding so much for myself, but I do have my own version of what I would consider my own kind of bodybuilding. And it's, to me, it's like the statue where he's like chiseling away at his body.
Yes, I love that one.
Right? Like, I feel that with, all of the things that I've endured in my life and some of the trials and really painful experiences that I've had. I feel like if I hadn't had those things, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, because they would not have pushed me into spaces that might be, not that this is uncomfortable, but you're putting yourself out there. You're talking personally about yourself, your life, your story. This is why these things are kind of special, right? Because not everybody is that vulnerable. And so I feel like when you are just kind of like, you've kind of stripped your old self and you've been able to kind of like shed that skin, and you can kind of reinvent yourself, and you can do that with an amazing diet, right? That kind of, it always comes back to the diet. You're able to kind of just really become like in a way like a reborn, right? And
Right.
you're kind of like, I'm okay with feeling vulnerable. I'm
Mhm.
okay with, like, I really think the reason when you were saying earlier that when that guy cut you off and you started thinking more empathetically, that's probably because your testosterone levels are better and you can think, because
Mhm.
masculinity is supposed to be solid.
Right.
And real true masculinity is solid, where femininity is more fluid. So when a man kind of goes off the rails, he's actually more in his feminine space, even if
Mm.
they think, you know what I mean? Because they think anger is like masculine, but it's actually quite feminine.
Right.
If you, even if you look in nature, it's always the women, female animals that are getting mad. You know, I just posted something this morning about a female octopus throwing stones at male octopus. Like, okay, like you know, women. We tend to like react. We're the ones that are like the reactive ones. Men are supposed to actually be quite solid, and I actually feel that the diet can help steady
Mm.
a man and actually tap into empathy, which actually I feel can also be quite masculine because it calms. It's a calming. You can put yourself in the shoes of somebody
Mhm.
instead of projecting maybe your own insecurities onto them, right? Like you're actually able to get into them and like you said, maybe they have to go to the bathroom really bad. They're probably not carnivore and they're having IBS. Like, like you
Right.
know what I mean? Like you're right. Like, and even when I go places and I see people and I'm like, oh, like yesterday, actually, this is so cute. I was at Sam's Club yesterday and there was this little lady and she
Mhm.
was passing out samples and we were talking about it was a sparkling water and she was explaining it and she goes, you know, but my doctors have me on all these medications and I'm so sick of it. I just got business cards. I gave her one of my business cards. I said, ma'am, you need to start eating meat. And she like looked at me and she was like, what? I was like, you need it. I said, we're gonna put you on a carnivore diet.
Mm.
And she was like, okay, because I really want to get off these medications. And I said, okay. Well, I said, well, you give me a call. So,
Right.
you know, it's just like, you know, you have these little cute little interactions with people. And gosh, I don't even know where I was going with that right now. Oh, like just being able to like steady, like you can kind of just, you see that something's off and you can just get with people, like get like, just be able to like humanize the moment and just be like, you know what? Sometimes I've done that before. Or I've seen somebody do that and I never said anything before. Why be like you just kind of you do become a little more chill because again, it comes down to your hormones. And when
Mm.
you're balancing your hormones and you're not spiking your insulin and it's not you're able to actually make more rational decisions. You're
Right.
able to actually humanize experiences, have more empathy, and again, tap into your more masculine if you're a man or feminine space if you're a woman. You know, it's funny to me because because I'm a power lifter, I tend, I like to, get my hands dirty, cut up meat, like whatever. People are like, oh, you're such a man. And I'm like, oh, like whatever. It's actually, no, I'm actually tapping into like what my whole tagline is live wild and free. I do believe that there is this like kind of wild side to women,
Mhm.
not wild in the sense like what people think.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I completely agree where you're going with this, and you're 100% right.
Right. Like women have been so like, you don't say this, don't
Yep.
do that, be a late, blah, blah. Like
Mhm.
what? Whoa. Like you have like just as much as we have suppressed masculine
Mhm.
traits, we've been doing that to women too. And it's no wonder like there was the free love revolution in the 60s, right?
Mhm.
Because at that point women were just like, ah!
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we were so suppressed, like we're gonna do whatever we want. But that's not true freedom either, right? Like come to find out women are like, wait a minute, wait.
Mm.
That's not really doing it either because we're still giving men what they want. No. We can't do that. That's not good either. Like I think we're fine. I think women are finally realizing what wild and free actually means. And really what it means is her just living her authentic self, using expressions, being able to express herself through her art, through culture, through work, through like whatever it is that drives a woman, the passion, and decentralizing that idea that, oh, I have to do this for a man. No, I power lift for me, right?
Right.
Like I do that for myself. And if somebody likes that, great. If they don't, that's their problem, not mine. I don't care. I'm going to continue to be me and do myself. That's the whole point, right? So the whole like live wild and free is more just like be yourself. And it's hard to do that when you have been conditioned to eat certain foods that keep you in a certain mindset. And so, yeah, that's why I truly believe that it all kind of goes hand in hand, and we can actually tap into our true selves even more, basic instincts, on this diet. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because there's this desensitized nature that society, this environment, has demoralized women and men. So, like, whenever you watch not talk shows, just regular series, the dad is the dumb one. The dad is Al Bundy. Everybody's walking over him. But I had the luxury of having a Sicilian dad, where you would hear his 77 Pontiac from 9 blocks away, and your spine goes up, and you know that you better get ready to show respect. So dad says something, we got to do it. He's always knowledgeable. There's always a discipline.
Yes, discipline.
And when I would watch these shows, the only show that wild, and I know this might strike some nerves and whatnot, and this is pre when this guy, he was a total douchebag right now, but was the Cosby Show, right? He was a doctor.
Oh, okay.
And, right.
Okay.
So, and there was that command there, right? That he worked alongside with his wife. There was a cohesion of that show, and there was always like something there, and it was something special, right? But I
feel that way about Family Matters. That was actually
yes, exactly.
Yeah. So yes, I actually didn't really watch the Cosby Show much, even growing up. But like Family Matters, I actually reintroduced that to my kids, and sometimes they're like, "Can we watch Family Matters?" Yeah, they Steve Urkel, loved him, right? But yeah, right.
I love that. Yeah,
right? But yeah, so like, no, I totally get what you're saying. Because I even think about like Family Guy sometimes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, just like those kinds of characters, like total slapstick, total, seeing a man as, kind of, overweight. That's, then there's the wife who's like, super hot,
Right.
she just kind of like goes along or whatever with everything. Although I do believe there's an episode where she kind of rebels. Where Lois kind of rebels. So but,
I'm a Family Guy. I love Family Guy.
Yeah. I mean, you literally have like every single kind of character. That show is out of this world. But I agree with you. And I think, it's kind of funny, like, because right now I'm doing a little bit of research on and this is like so like kind of out there, but just the kind of topic of like when women were actually allowed to start reading. And the rise of romance in literature, right? Because like, okay, women are getting educated. How do we kind of keep them in a space where they're still having men as like the center of their lives, right? And I think that, even as a little girl, like I was programmed that men were the center of my life because of like Disney princess movies and things like that. So, and I'm not saying like, I guess like my point is, and I'm not saying that, obviously biologically, men and women are to get together and have a family and all that. So it is a biological response for a woman to want a man and vice versa. But I also think, though, that women have been so programmed in one direction that we lose ourselves. We end up choosing partners that we end up raising instead of actually being a partner with.
Great point.
Right. And so I think what's happening is it's not that women are rebelling or that we're not. We're more so just tapping into ourselves, putting ourselves first for a little bit, right? Like, I tell my daughters, like, it's so important that you get a career or get a job, not to say that you can't then end that career once you get married and have a family, but you want to make sure you can take care of yourself first. And that way you find a partner that's appropriate and suitable for you to then have and raise a family with, so it's important for you to have your autonomy. And I think that's, that's kind of the what I want to teach. And I feel like women can actually tap into their autonomy more with a carnivore diet. And I'll be honest with you, like I've been in some really terrible relationships. And so I do have a little bit more of a rebellious side to me. I am People are like, oh, you're a bitter cat lady. Well, I'm more of a girl gone bitter dog lady. I do enjoy my dogs, my canines, more than cats. And actually, I have children who are allergic to cats, so unfortunately, that's not even in the cards for me right now. But I've had people say that to me, like, oh, you're just bitter, you're just miserable, you're just this or that, and I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm not afraid of it. Yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad that these things have happened to me, that, it just seems like I can't really find the right person, but maybe the right person is me. And I've just been so focused on and helping others that, like, no, maybe it's my turn. And that's okay, right? Like, it's okay for me to go inward. I've got my kids, I got my dog, I got my gym. I'm very happy and content. Like, I know that might surprise and shock people, but like, I really actually enjoy being alone. I do. I love to read. I love to play piano. I'm a musician. I got all kinds of things that I do. I don't have to make dating, relationships, whatever, the center of my life. It's just not where I'm at right now. But there's other things that I can do to be satisfied in my life. And again, I'm open, I'm receptive, but I'm also very, I guess I'm just like, I have too much of again, tapping into the instincts, knowing so much. I can read patterns so well now. It's almost kind of a curse, but it's also going to protect me now, right? Because now, like, nobody's going to get in the way of my goals and dreams. It's just not happen anymore. So, it's a journey, it's a process, it's a whole thing. I'm good with it. It might make other people uncomfortable, but you know what? At the end of the day, this is what I always say. You can look at me, you can judge me for going through things and talking about them, or you could maybe think about the people who put me in this position in the first place.
Right. That empathy.
And a little bit more empathy for like what's going on, right? And again, I'm not sitting here crying. I'm not sitting here in my room, like, in fetal position every single night, whatever. I'm getting out there. I'm going to tell my story. I'm going to try to inspire others. I want to eventually coach others. And that's really essentially the whole goal here. And, if there's women out there who are currently in any kind of relationship that they're just like, what is it going to take for me to finally just say, I can't be with this person anymore? There's just too many negative things going on. Go carnivore.
Right.
I'm serious. Yeah. I'm serious. Go carnivore. It will save your life. It will.
I agree. And I'm so happy that you brought up autonomy, right? Just finished reading this book, which is a game changer. It's called Boundaries in Marriage. I don't know if you ever came across it. It is such a great book, and has saved many marriages. Even though, thank God I have such a queen, right? She is amazing. She is great. And the beauty is that she is her own person. And I think this book exemplifies that so many relationships, there's a dependency. And whenever there's a dependency, you lose part of yourself.
Resentment builds. That's how
resentment.
It's a resentment.
There, as opposed to complimenting each other, elevating each other, understanding, encouraging, it's, well, I'm not really good at this, but she is, so I'm just going to give it to this person. And this book showcases that is not complimenting. It's, all right, she's really good at this. She's really good at reading. Like, I'm going to have that, right? I could have been like, all right, you know what? I have an instruction manual on how to build a table. I'm going to give it to her because she's good at reading. Hun, you instruct me what to do and how I put these 2x2s forward and what screw I use.
That's straight up teamwork.
Straight up teamwork.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, you're good at reading. As rudimentary as this might sound, teach me how to read. Maybe I've been reading wrong. Maybe I don't understand. And that's exactly what I did. Well, Hun, how do you do this?
But right there, that's rare. To actually admit that there's a type of weakness, right? If I may use that word.
Yeah, right? Yeah, of course.
To say, hey, I'm not as good at this. Can you help me?
Yep.
that to me is kind of a rare thing from, I think, both genders. I definitely more man leaning, right? I feel like women can admit a little bit more maybe what their faults might be. Just again, lived experience. I'm not pulling any stats here or anything right now, just my lived experience. But I admire that, and that's truly what it takes, is for someone to just say, hey, I'm not as good at this. Can you help me? You know, like something very basic, right? Like yesterday, my daughter came to me, and she's doing some math, and I'm like, oh boy, math, right? And it's like, math was never one of my strong subjects, but I feel like math takes a certain type of mental maturity. And so when I was training to be a teacher, I had to take a math exam. Even though I was a librarian and English teacher, you still have to take a general ed. And honest to God, I studied so hard for the math that I knew that I passed it with flying colors. And by the time I got to the reading exam, I was honestly like, oh, shoot, maybe I should have studied a little more for this exam too. I ended up passing, thank goodness. But anyway, so she comes to me, we're doing the math, and, you know, just a child, right? Teaching a child. Hey, mom, I'm not really understanding this. So right there, you are a winner.
Yep.
Admitting that you aren't good at something and then asking for help, you're a winner. Because the only way you're ever going to get better at something is to admit that you're not good at it from the start, right?
Right.
But then to also not give up. Or again, lean on someone, you know, you with your wife, my daughter with me yesterday with the math, saying, hey, I just can't do this on my own. And that's okay, right? Like, I think we need to just start normalizing that type of teamwork mentality. And then to take it a step further, I did the problem, put it into ChatGPT just to double check, like, hey, did I do this right? I want to make sure I'm teaching her correctly. So that's kind of cool. We have like this we didn't have this technology when we were kids. I was like, oh, I did it right. So like you know what I mean? I fact checked it. So then from that point forward, I was able to teach her the formula, because I was like, okay, I got it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, now I'm able to, you know, teach her in a way where it's like, okay, again, like my kid she's one of the best readers in her class. No big surprise, because like reading is not. So I taught her how to read. So, you know, it's like admitting, you know, coming back to, you know, and hopefully, you know, your daughters feel like, and I get like, this is another thing too, that I'm just going to bring up. When people like this whole idea of safe spaces, I'm actually a big fan of safe spaces. And I don't mean it as a way, as like a cop out, and not to just shut down. That's not what a safe space is, right? A safe space is actually quite the opposite. It's actually a place where you can express yourself and say what's bothering you. And instead of the other person judging you, they're going to sit, they're going to listen, and then hopefully work together to come up with a solution. To me, that's what a safe space is.
Right. Because
women, especially, are constantly feeling like we're being under attack, right? It's like we're afraid to say something a lot of times. We're afraid to be wrong. We're afraid to say something that maybe is a little bit more masculine. People are like, why is she talking like that? Like, you can't talk like that. There's all these kind of like things, right? But I feel that when you create a safe environment, when you create a safe space, people are able to open up in a way that perhaps they weren't before. And I'm just going to say that anybody who's against safe spaces or this whole idea, rethink it, right? Rethink why that bothers you so much, because more than likely you're living in some kind of like toxic mindset, right? Because really at the end of the day, we should be able to provide a space where we can admit that we don't have maybe a certain quality. And that's, you know, this is why we have a society. This is why we have families. We need to start embracing more of that. And I think, again, coming back to the diet, I feel like you're able to do that. I feel like you're able to tap into that more, because it comes down to regulation, and it comes down to hormones, and it comes down to being able to just be a little more of let it be, or let them, instead of let me try to control and dominate. And I think that that's, you know, it's been so pushed, like control. God gave us free will.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought up safe spaces because, in our society, it goes by different nomenclatures. And so many people are like, no, safe space is, like you said, a cop out, which it's not.
Mm-mm.
Industries, they use that, but it goes under the name of action plan to better the workflow.
Yep.
So when there's a mistake that happens, an enterprise that has so much cash flow, they don't want to mess that up. So now, timeout, we got to huddle. How do we learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
And moving forward, if this happens again, what is our action plan?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why sometimes when people are very narrow-minded and they don't want to even look at something called safe space, you have to take a step back and see how it's actually being implemented all around us. I want to continue to always have that space with my daughters and my wife that they could share their vulnerability.
Yeah.
Where I can say, and I have said it, I have said it eye to eye with my daughters. I'm sorry. I so apologize for reacting the way I did. That was uncalled for. That is not dad. Like what I said, that's not cool. And that is not, and my daughters were like, and I would say, how did that make you feel when I said that? When I said those words to you? Yes, you got the chore done, but how? And how would you think would be a better way? Well, then they would say it, and then I would say, but if I do it that way, there are certain open doors where you could sneak out the back and then make your point a little bit more tangential. And then we're going at it, and I'm like, do you see why I went to that route? And I had no other option to say it in that tone.
Yeah.
Because of the past experiences. And she would say, you know what, you're right. But I said, but with that being said, I'm going to tone it down a little bit. I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, and because that's the point, right? So she's not going to do the thing to make you feel like you have to get to that point, right? Although you don't want to get, so it's it's all again, comes down to that teamwork, right? Because like, look, my dog kept running, right? And I used a very commanding voice with her. And so now I will tell you, she thinks twice because just my voice alone and that changed, because normally I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Right. And then when she hears mom like,
yeah,
like, right? Because sometimes, and again, that's an animal. So you do have to be a certain, you have to speak dog. That's why, I say, you got to.
I love speaking dog.
You got to speak dog. Because they're not speaking human, right? Like
they're not looking at me. That's my best friend. I love my guy.
I love my dog so much. Like, oh my God. But yeah, like, she can do no wrong, even though she's wrong all the time. But yeah, it's like, there is a time and place, right? Like anytime, for example, like if I see my kid crossing the street and I don't think it's safe, like I'm going to yell, right? Like, like, sometimes you have to use a command. I always say for safety, right? Like when it comes down, and when, of course, your child does something and it's like so unsafe, right? And they're just like half oblivious to it because they don't understand consequences, right? Like their brains just don't function that way, right? And you use a little more of a commanding voice. I think there's something, that is kind of a natural thing though, because it's like the protector in you is like, well, I would rather have you fear me right now because I know you're safe.
Yep.
Right. Ultimately, fearing me is actually the safer thing right now than what you were about to do. Right. Because what you were about to do could, be fatal, like whatever the extent of the thing that you're doing is. Right. So I do believe, there is that healthy balance there, but I do also respect like when because again, that empathy comes in when you can talk to your child and say, hey, look, that's not really how I want to be. That's not where I want this to go. How can we make this better? first, it's got to start with, first of all, you got to follow the rules.
Right.
There's just certain things as a child you're not going to be allowed to do. And one of the things I actually, some advice I have for you, since I have some teenage kids, one of the things I've told them, I said, look, the day that you pay your own bills, that's the day you can say adult words. That's the day that, you can, do all the adult things, right? Like, but until that day comes, until you are actually paying your own bills, you need to just maintain being a kid. There's parts of me that are still very much, I tap into my like child like ways, right? Like I just, the other time, about a month or so ago, I went and did plyometrics. Let me tell you what, it was like adult recess. It was just like jumping and laughing and like not caring at all. And just, you know what I mean? And like, you're trying to do better on your next course that you're working on. And like, you're totally enamored by the fact that you can do these things. Like you're jumping these heights and it was literally like adult recess. And I'm like, you kids have no idea. Like, be a kid.
Yeah.
Please. Because once you turn 18, once you become an adult, once you have to start paying bills, once you have to start actually eating the proper diet on the daily.
Absolutely.
Because your body is no longer super youthful. When you actually have to hit these adult milestones, right? That's when, you can go, I guess, make, some adult mistakes or whatever you want to do. But in the meantime, like, this is your lane. We need you to stay in it, and there's going to be some discipline reinforcements along the way. And sometimes, my daughter, she did something at school that put her into the ER. Kid. Yeah, she was at school. She was doing rules. She was climbing a fence. God love her. I mean, I'm telling you, you want to talk about like, it was, so, I'm all day, I'm in the emergency room. 10 stitches later. Right. These are, but like at the same time, again, my kid needed to follow the rules and we dealt with that. But at the same time, it's like, man, my kid just wants to like climb, and I said, I'll take you to the YMCA. We'll go climbing on the climb wall. Like we can go do that in space where it's appropriate. So that's what I'm going to do when she's like a little more healed up. Right. I'm going to go take you climbing. We're going to get that out. Cause I love that side of her too. Right. Like that totally like, but like, we need to do it safely. Like we need to tap into that stuff safely. And kids, they just don't think in that way. And that's why I always tell my kids, I'm like, this is why you need parents. This is why until you can't be on your own until you're 18. There's a reason for that, because you need the guidance. You need that support. You need those kinds of things. You're not paying your own bills yet. Okay. You can't get a job. So it's like, I feel like kids today, they want to grow up so fast. And gosh, right? Like if you could go back in time, like if I could go back in time and start my like teen years as Carnivore.
Right. Oh, it's a game changer. It changes everything. And that's where I wanted to tie these loose ends together. And it's interesting that you brought this up, right? Of trying to be a kid again and going back in time. Even going back in time, I always wanted to do adult things, right? But now I want to do kid things. But that's the mental health of this and the evolution of, I'm going to use parenting, right? Like me growing up, my dad and my mom, they were, the breadwinner. They always instructed discipline, love. But there are certain things that I would never implement with my kids. There was like, but with that being said, I would extrapolate and extract even the bad. There's got to be something good in here, and I that's exactly what I would do, and I would write it down. And it was the critical thinking. I think that was the main common denominator, that my parents would put me and my brothers into a crucible, and it would be. Some from the outside would say, wow, that's really toxic. And if I was in their shoes looking, I would say the exact same thing. Yeah, that is toxic. But for every parent, right? Every parent knows their child the best. And it's biblical. It also says no one knows the Father but the Son. No one knows the Son like the Father, right? That it's You have that connection. So with that being said, that those hard times allowed me to question the establishment. I think of that habitual nature that we've been influenced, and we were talking about this earlier, the behavior. Pills are cool. Health, standard American diet, high fiber, high carbs. Then let's take it a step further. Retirement. You can't retire early, lady. You can't do that. You got to wait until you're 63. And if you retire early, you're not going to be getting the same money. So you got to push it to 67, because if not, then you're going to be losing money. So then when you finally retire at age 70, you're going to live the life. But then 3 years later, the majority of people that retire and they don't have anything else to do, because I was watching a podcast yesterday, listening to it while I was doing a whole bunch of stuff. And sorry to go off a tangent, but this is super important. When they ask a person, what do you do? They attribute it to their job. But there should be a disconnect. You are you.
Right.
You are, what do you do? So my response is, what I do is I promote joy. That's what I like. I like to understand people. That is me. I'm separating my vocation from me. Now, retirement age and all of this stuff, like we're that ball and chain. And again, we all have to pay our bills. I get it. But it's that mental servanthood that you can't escape. You can't escape. And going back to that crucible of growing up, it's breaking free of that matrix of thinking for yourself. There's got to be something else. And that's what brought us here. This carnivore lifestyle. This is not natural. This is not acceptable. We're gonna die of heart attacks. Our cholesterol is bad, very bad. Oh, LDLs, oof, oh my God, that's it. It's bad. You got to check yourself. Both you and I should be at least 370 pounds each. That's where we should be, because eating fat makes you fat. That's what everybody says. Right. But we've gone against the grain and noticed that is all BS. It's all BS. All these GLP-1s, all of this nonsense, pills, whatever the case is. Type 2 diabetes is reversible. What? When did this happen? Why wasn't that an option? But again, this is the evolution of the person, of learning from their experiences, from that roughness. Yeah. And bringing it to our kids. Yeah. And we place them in a different position, but the same end goal. Think for yourselves and look at your periphery and use discernment. Wow, I went on, huh?
It really is that simple. I think overall, I've been doing this for almost 4 years. I'm just now tapping into making hopefully something monetarily back on my journey, right? When we experience the grocery store, when we buy all these medications, when we do all of these things, we are funding a lot of big corporations. We're funding all of these people that essentially want to keep us sick. And here I am, right? 4 years in almost. And again, I'm just now like, hey, look, I have a hat.
Love it.
Right? Like, I have a hat, guys. Like, awesome. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not over here making millions of dollars. I'm not over here like, the health route, there's not as, it's not as lucrative, right? Like, I'm just going to kind of do my little business and have my little thing and hopefully help some people. But that, and I think that is also like a way for people to determine what could be the right route too. Is your route funding certain companies that essentially want to keep you sick? Or are you listening to a few influencers online who are saying, hey, I've been doing this thing. I feel really great. I'm off all of these medications. You might want to try it.
Yep.
And by the way, I might make $20 today. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Heck yeah.
You know what I mean though? Like
Mhm.
it does say something. So like, because at first I was like, okay, I'm gonna have some merch and I'm gonna like do these things, and I'm like one of those people, which not like no shade or anything. I just
Mhm.
for me, like it's like does the vibe leave if I try to start, really making something of it? And I'm like, no, like it's okay. Like if this is the path you want to go and you want to help people, and if you can do that and make some kind of monetary gain from it along the way, like hey, why not? Like that, like I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the time. I really do. So it's like I'm not going to feel guilty about that. I'm going to feel actually really good about it, really accomplished about it. And I think again, when people start thinking about where they want to go
Mhm.
when it comes to nutrition, it might be a good idea to like tap into the people who are making, and again, there's some influencers out there who are making a total living from it. And I think
Mhm.
that's amazing and fantastic. And I love it. And I admire them very much. So I hope what I didn't mean to come out the wrong.
No, you're fine, and I totally get it.
You know what I'm
That
saying? Like, I
Mhm.
didn't think I was gonna be like, I was like, oh, you look at them and you see them and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of stay over here. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not just gonna stay over here. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep
Yeah.
telling people, and I am gonna try to, you know, because it's to me, it's not just the diet, it's a whole lifestyle, it's a whole
Mhm.
philosophy on life. And
Right.
I'm trying to actually sell at the end of the day, like my kind of way of life. And if people want to, jump on the train, cool. And if they don't, that's okay too. And, and again, there's people who really like other influencers, and I encourage them to go seek them, because whatever is working and making you a better person, like I'm going to love that.
Absolutely.
That's what
You're
matters.
you're 100% right. I mean, if you have that inkling within you, you pursue it. Dude, look at Kellogg. Kellogg made a killing with the slogan breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and he attributed breakfast to the morning. Now, when you think of breakfast, you
Yeah.
think of the morning, which
Yeah.
is total nonsense.
That's true. It's so true.
Breakfast is
Yeah.
when you break your fast, maybe 18 hours in. That's why when I'm like, oh, I had breakfast at 8 p.m., they're
Yeah.
like,
What do you mean you had breakfast at 8
what do
p.m.?
you mean? Yeah, I broke my fast.
You had pancakes? Right.
Right. Exactly. 100%. No, you keep at it. Listen, I
Thank you.
appreciate I appreciate your authenticity throughout this interview. This is not the last time that I'm going to have you on here. So just
Okay.
letting you know that, just throwing that sidebar there. I I so am happy of all the topics that we hit, and there's many more. GGC, where can people find you?
Yeah. So right now I'm on Facebook at girl_gone_carnivore. I also have a Facebook page, Girl Gone Carnivore, and I am in the process of building my website. So if you go to girlgonecarnivore.com right now, it's just a very generic like template from GoDaddy. Okay. So I'm actually working with a marketing team, and actually right after this call, I am going to I have to send them a bunch of graphics and things like that. So I have to get on
Awesome.
that so we can start building the website. I'm super excited about the website because I have a book that I'm writing that's going to be coming out. I have some recipes that I'm going to be putting on there, a quick start guide. And then, like I said, I have my hats, and I'll have some other merch, including tank tops for the ladies. So I'm just going to start doing my thing with my personal brand. And then I also have Carnivore Krispies. So please don't forget about the breakfast
Mhm.
cereal, but it's all animal based. So it's the very first
Love
cereal
it.
made with 100% animal products, and not just animal products, but regeneratively farmed animal products. So
Love it.
more of that. So at Carnivore Krispies with a C, Krispies with a C like carnivore. Please follow along because this is an incredible journey. This whole experience. I am going to have a phone call with a processor on Wednesday with my farmer. I'm telling you, I am like talking to people, right? Like just like meeting people, talking to them, getting to know them, local farmers and meat processors. So yeah, please pray for me, wish me luck, because I'm really hoping that we can get this off the ground, because I would love nothing more than to have my cereal in grocery stores around the country and maybe even the world. We don't know yet. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at. So, and one last thing I just want to end on for everybody listening: manifest,
Mm-hmm.
see it done.
Yep.
And it will get done. See the person that you want to be, you will become that person. You have to actually see it finished before you can get started. See the end, and it will just go. Don't stop. You will take a step forward. You will have 20 steps in your way, taking you back. Don't stop. Keep going. You can't stop. You got to keep going.
Projection is key, 100%, and keep slaying it. You have so much going for you. Do not stop, please. It's all about connections, and everything is going to lead you into a bigger platform. So
thank you.
Keep rocking, lady.
All right, will do. Thank you so much, Dan. Really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.